What if every dollar you invested in online marketing was profitable for your law firm? There are so many different levers to pull, from LSAs to PPC to paid socials to third-party generators to SEO and way more. How do you ensure you're pulling the lever with the right strategy and whether or not you should be pulling the lever at all? Well, in today's video, I'm going to show you exactly how we generate a ton of cases for our partners with digital marketing levers, just like I mentioned, and more. If you're new here, my name is Avery Lynch, founder of Adsurdly. We've spent over $70 million online successfully for our partners. And in today's video, we're going to break down exactly what we've learned so you can be profitable with the dollars you spend online. I'm going to start with third-party lead generators. These are the people like me who sell you leads either at a price per lead, maybe a signed retainer, or you pay them some sort of percentage of ad spend or retainer. Why am I starting here? Because for my smaller law firms, this is incredibly important. And for my larger law firms, this is a great reminder. Your online efforts and their success are massively dependent on your intake team's ability to work a lead. This is a big reason why so many old school big TV personality lawyers struggle to scale online as VC money is flooding the space. The old school way of thinking is if I call a lead 4 or 5 times and they don't pick up, then the lead is dead. I don't want to bother them, or the marketer sucks. And while those things could be true, the reality is if you're not going to call a lead at least 15 times, you're going to be inefficient with your spend. As opposed to go too deep into that, there's an article by the Harvard Business Review where they took 15,000 web leads through 100,000 call attempts to help businesses understand how to maximize their ROI from working leads. And this is my Bible. Okay, Avery, but why start with third-party lead generators? Because this is the easiest way to get more reps to build an efficient intake process, from process to content. Sure, GBPs and LSAs are easier for you to create without a marketer and potentially more affordable. But when lawyers start to scale, they often fail and lose momentum because they hire someone for intake who doesn't know what they're doing because the managing partner doesn't know what they're doing either. Depending on the practice area, you can start with shared leads, which enable you to protect your investment with cheaper costs per leads. And I guarantee you the people you'll be competing with are mostly firms that are too big to give their leads the work they deserve. So don't be afraid of starting with shared leads. All right, Avery, but how do we know which third-party lead generators to work with and how to work with them effectively? Great question, Avery. Here's a few key points. The goal is to just be good at math. If my cost per case goals are $2,500 a case, I start by bringing on 3 or 4 vetted lead vendors and take away or give them more money slowly as they perform. You should be looking for new marketing partners and testing them regularly. Finally, how many platforms are they on? And how often do they create new ads? This is such an important question to ask lead vendors because if they don't have enough platforms that they're running ads on, the oscillation of results massively skews. Next is SEO. First, let's start by defining what the heck SEO is and what it isn't. Search engine optimization is creating content that engines like Google show your content higher in the search result. Think of it like this. Google and search engines are libraries. Librarians that want to provide the most valuable experience to its users. Why? Because it's in Google's best interest for you to trust it and come back, because it then makes more money off of you. Just like the Dewey Decimal System in a real library, Google wants to put the best content up front for its audiences. This means they'll continue to come back. But Google isn't sophisticated enough to know your content is the best without a few other pieces. Is this a reputable author? And what do other people think about this author? These are questions Google is asking. And in order for Google to know, it looks at whether or not you're playing by the rules with the technical side of things, aka technical SEO, and backlinks. Or what other people on the World Wide Web, WWW, say about you. That all mixes together and creates a cocktail that is the first page of Google. The 8 to 12 results on the first page that are organic results, not sponsored results that end up on the top of the page. But there are other results on that page as well, and those are not SEO. SEO is not pay-per-click advertising or local service ads. Oftentimes, when someone tells you that you need to spend a ton of money on SEO to get it to work, they are often confusing what SEO is and what SEM is. SEM is search engine marketing. These are your LSAs or local service ads and PPC. We'll dive into those a bit later. The most valuable element of SEO for law firms is their Google My Business or Google Business profile. Think of it like this. If it costs you $150 to $450 to get a click on your PPC ad for the keyword car accident lawyer, it likely costs you probably $1,000 for a lead. With your Google Business Profile or GBP, you're showing up in the map pack for someone searching for that exact same keyword. And if you're in the first 3 positions on mobile or 4 on desktop, you are likely to get that lead. And how much did you pay for that? $0. Google wants to show local solution providers where the location of the search exists. When you Google best Mexican restaurant, what shows up? It's not the best taco truck in Los Angeles. It's something very close to you. So it's clear Google wants to show you if you're close to the user. You don't need 4,000 reviews. You just need 20 to 30 and to know how to optimize your GBP, unless you're in a massively competitive area. Local service ads, aka LSAs. Local service ads are Google's placements using your Google Business Profile on all the competitive keywords. This ad is really 3 pieces: your profile photo, your firm's name, and the amount of reviews. Based off Google's algorithm, it then places your profile amongst others and charges you only when someone makes a call or chats to the phone number connected to the account. You get to choose from an array of service types that you would like to bid after, and your ads are served, and you get to see the impressions and top impression results. This was the hottest form of advertising in 2023 and 2024 because you would pay $80 to $160 for direct calls, and you could get refunds on so many types of leads. This, unfortunately, changed massively at the end of 2024, where Google made the decision to kill essentially 80 to 90% of refunds. Now, it really is only when a case type that you are not bidding after gets through that you are able to receive credits for that lead. Why did Google do this? Think of the economics. If Google gets $200 for every click on PPC advertising for the same keywords, Google makes more money by refusing refunds on LSAs, and LSAs aren't as expensive anyway. It was in Google's best interest to refuse refunds. So, how do we play the game in order to keep LSAs economical? Remember, Google is focusing on creating a hyper-valuable user experience. It wants to keep people coming back because that's how they make their money. So if you get a call from your LSAs and Google sees that you missed the call or don't have a quality conversation 30 to 60 seconds with a potential customer, you are negatively impacted for that action. If you provide Google with what it's looking for and hyper-focus on collecting 5-star reviews on their platform, you are more likely to create a better experience for Google's users. Therefore, you are incentivized with more impressions. Another important way to remain economical on this ad type is to not bid after case types your firm isn't hyper-focused on. For example, medical malpractice and workers' comp service types are rarely bid after by law firms anymore. And when you turn these service types on, you will be flooded with leads where if you're looking solely for the right case in these categories, you're going to be incredibly frustrated because no one is bidding after them anymore. Therefore, you get flooded with crappy leads. So I wouldn't bid on these 2 types of general law categories. Finally, your GBP and its ranking / organic management also play into the success of your LSAs. So it's not just checking boxes that make LSAs effective. If you're spending a fair amount of money, you want the right people alongside to help you manage this. Last thing, if you are bidding for statewide instead of your local area, you are competing after people who likely have way more reviews than you. And when it comes to LSAs, whoever has more reviews tends to win the first search. The reason this is so important is because you don't want shopped through cases. The way people make decisions is by who has the best social proof. You would do the same given any search on best Mexican food, best dresses, what have you. And so if you're not limited to your very local area where they'll also see you on the map pack and maybe your PPC if you're bidding in that local area, you're going to be getting potentially really crappy traffic because you're getting the fourth or fifth call that this individual is making because you had other firms who had much higher review count, since reviews is really the only thing driving the user decision. Let's move on to the next lever, pay-per-click advertising. This is the oldest trick in the book. And I'm going to peel back how we're making this lever work. But if you want a deep dive to make more money with PPC advertising, you should check out this video over here. Pay-per-click advertising are the first 2 to 3 and bottom results on search engines. As opposed to breaking it down in detail like I do in the video I referenced earlier, I'm going to cut straight to why this doesn't work for most law firms. Most marketers just want your money. Shocker. They tell you that you need to be doing PPC advertising, when the reality is, if you aren't going to spend enough money to capture a large part of the market for competitive keywords, PPC is going to get out of hand. Yes, you should be bidding after your branded keywords, and yes, you should be bidding after long tail searches, but there's only so much volume here. When you bid after statewide the competitive keywords like car accident lawyer or personal injury attorney near me, the economics can often not work. So in order to make the economics work in your favor, you have to have a higher average case value. And unless you're lucky, you will need to get way more than just a handful of cases to ensure your average case value goes up to make this economical for your firm. So with a bad economical strategy, you are just gambling. There's one other strategy I've not mentioned that will help you make more money, but you need the right marketer. I go into detail on this in the PPC strategy video, so you should go watch that. So outside of branded keywords and long tail searches on Google and other search engines, buyer beware. It's going to get expensive without the right strategies in place. Moving on, everyone's favorite lever to talk about. Paid social. Platforms like Meta, X, TikTok, and YouTube. Platforms that enable you to connect with a wide array of people with decent targeting. These are the popular platforms to talk about for law firm advertising because of how much more economical they can be. In comparing PPC advertising, which is the most traditional of digital marketing, you're looking at an average click cost of over $100. Whereas on these platforms, you're looking at click costs around $5 done correctly. Therefore, with the right strategy, you can make these platforms incredibly valuable for your law firm. So, what's working on them for us, and what can you do to help your law firm generate cases on them? Video is king when it comes to ads. And as a little hack for all my internal marketing teams, this is how you should be testing content. What works on Meta generally translate to TikTok and Google, but the inverse is not always true. So, since Meta is our most sophisticated algorithm, meaning you can go broad targeting and it knows who to put it in front of, this is usually the platform folks start out on advertising with. When you find winning ads, you can easily translate those over to TikTok and to YouTube Shorts on Google. This flywheel effect creates infrastructure, therefore scalability for your campaigns. The biggest problem law firms have with the right marketers or vendors is, can they produce more than 20 leads a month? The reason this is so hard is because of the amount of content required on these platforms to create consistent infrastructure at economical prices requires more content. Platforms like X and Google's display network are phenomenal retargeting solutions. These platform algorithms lack sophistication, meaning it won't always know who to put this ad in front of without a lot of data, which is why they're so good for retargeting. And these platforms have significantly cheaper costs for advertising. So you can follow people around the internet who've clicked on other ads or on your website for a significant amount less money to make it far more economical for your firm. There's a lot more we can dive deep on in paid social ads, but these two levers above account for a large amount of the success we've generated for our partners. Look out for our deep dive on paid social in another video. So, there you have it. Those are some of the digital levers you can pull with online advertising and the way we pull these levers on behalf of our partners to help them generate cases for their law firms. If you're looking for a marketer that knows what they're doing to ensure every dollar you spend online is profitable, go to www.adsurdly.com and book a call directly with me. We'll see you on the next video.